Hi there, future teacher, and welcome to another CSET multiple subjects test prep lesson. In this video, we're going to be covering the types of questions you are likely to receive on exam day for subtest number 1. And as you're preparing for your upcoming subtest number 1, you know that there are two different competencies that you'll have to demonstrate your understanding for these types of topics. And those include, first and foremost, reading, and second of all, history. And so in this video, I'm going to present you with a total of 8 questions that use the different topics that you'll have to know all about for test day. So this way that we'll read the question together. I'll give you a moment to read the answer options A through D, and then we'll talk about the best solution in order to help you get better prepared to pass your upcoming exam. Now, I am making this video from teacherpreps.com. And if you haven't already, click the link in the description below that gives you the test prep so that you'll have access to everything you need to pass on your test day. Now, without further ado, let's click this blue start button that's right above me and let's get going. All right, let's click this blue button, get started, and let's begin. Again, there's a total of 8 questions and we have 12 minutes to respond. I'll read the first and let's begin. A Spanish-speaking student is learning English as a second language. Which of the following factors would most strongly facilitate this student's acquisition of English? Take a moment, pause the video, read answer options A through D. I'll do the same in my head, and then we'll talk about the best solution. All right, let's go through this, starting with letter A. This is the idea that grammatical gender is used in both languages, and whether or not that's true for this student's language or first language, which in this case is Spanish, we'll just kind of keep it there and come back if we need to. Letter B, the pronunciation of basic English word endings. Factors to strongly facilitate acquisition. All right, so if they know the endings, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's really going to be a strong factor in the acquisition of a second language like English. Letter C, languages sharing a system of word stresses. And letter D, words sharing roots and their meanings. I like letter D the most because when you have a second language student or an ELL, English as a second language learner, we can notice that students whose languages are more closely related to English, such as Spanish, will oftentimes acquire or kind of build their English language skills a lot faster than a student, for example, learning English from scratch whose first language is, let's say, Arabic or Japanese. So the closer the languages, example here, words sharing roots and their meanings, that will definitely help the student, acquire and develop their English language skills. So let's go on to question number 2. This reads, Malik, a 3rd grade student with a robust spoken vocabulary, comes across the unfamiliar word expedition in his reading. Which of the following best describes how his strong oral vocabulary can help him decode this new word? Again, take a moment. I'll read the answer options in my head and you read them to yourself, and then let's pick the best solution together. All right, let's talk about this. There are some commonalities that I see between this question and the first one, so we can definitely tell that these first 2 questions come from the first competency in the CSET subtest 1, which is all about reading. All right, so A says noticing grammatical role play in the sentence. Now, I like the idea where students use context clues to kind of search around the word that they don't know, but I don't think that this is what it's talking about because it's specifically focused on grammatical issues, and whether or not the student understands the difference between a comma and a semicolon, I don't think is going to help understand the word expedition. Okay, so letter B, by recognizing morphological clues such as the suffix tion, that suffix doesn't have any meaning by itself, so that won't help. Letter C, by using visual cues to produce the syllables accurately, and letter D, by linking sounds of the new word to words he already knows. Now, I like letter D, and that's because a lot of times when you'll be reading with a student, whether or not they're an English language learner, in this case, it doesn't say that Malik is. However, when reading with young learners, you'll notice that they might not know a word, but when they say it out loud, expedition, they go, oh, expedition. So they've never read it before, but they've heard it, and they've probably spoken it before. So I'm going to go with letter D there. And number 3, when teaching phonemic awareness to early readers, which of the following tasks do children typically master first? Take a moment, choose the select your best answer, and then let's talk about it. All right, so just after quickly skimming this, I see kind of vocabulary words like blending and final sounds, first phoneme, and segmenting. And while taking subtest 1 of your CSET exam, it'll be important to understand the developmental stages of acquiring reading. And so in this case, I know that segmenting won't be the first, which I believe is what we're, let's see here, when teaching phonemic awareness, which do children master first? Right, so segmenting is actually one of the later or even last skills to be learned. It's one of the most difficult ones, and in this case, I'm going to go with identifying the first phoneme in the word cat, because that will come before learning to blend sounds or recognizing the final sounds in words. So we're going to go with letter C in this case, and let's go to our next question, number 4, which reads, recent classroom data show that Paula, a kindergartner, is making significant progress in concepts of print and is beginning to develop various emergent literacy skills. Based on current research, which of the following competencies is most predictive of her success in learning to read through the primary grades? Take a moment here, pause the video if you would like, read answer options A through D while I do it as well, and then let's come back to talk about the best solution. All right, so A is read independently. I don't think that's it. Strong memory, visual cues for pronunciation. That would be like sight words. I don't think that's it. Accurate letter name recognition. That seems kind of like an important keyword, so I'm going to hold on to that. Let's go on to D. Broad background knowledge. And although having a broad background knowledge will help in reading, especially nonfiction, for example, if a student has some knowledge about dinosaurs and they're reading about dinosaurs, that student will learn faster than a student who doesn't know much about dinosaurs. However, for this question, I believe the correct response, or best response, would be letter C, accurate letter name recognition. Now, we have 8 questions, and I noticed that we've already gone through a few minutes, and we only have about 5 more minutes to complete this, so we'll have to go a little bit faster for the next question. So, what I want you to do is read this along with me. Read the passage below from this memoir Booker T. Washington wrote, and let's begin. All right, so, all right, and then we'll answer the question down below. I was born a slave in a plantation in Franklin County, Virginia. I am not quite sure of the exact place or exact date of my birth, though I do not find the lack of a record to be great disadvantage. Still, it would have been a source of satisfaction to know something definite about this event. My life had its beginning in the midst of the most miserable, desolate, and discouraging surroundings. Which of the following qualitative factors would likely contribute most significantly to the difficulty level of the passage? So basically, why would this be difficult for a 6th grader to kind of really understand? Take a moment here, read answer options A through D, and then let's talk about it. Okay, so here I'm going to go with letter A, and that is because which reads demands on students' knowledge of the history surrounding slavery, and that's because to really, even remotely grasp how difficult the time must have been, students, are just learning probably the basic knowledge of this topic, and I think letter A would be most appropriate here. All right, letter number 6. Which of the following best describes an initial advantage held by the Union or the Confederacy at the outbreak of the Civil War? So remember, your competency of history while taking subtest number 1 includes world history, U.S. history, and California history, and it looks like we've definitely moved on to the second competency within subtest number 1. So take a moment here, read A, B, C, and D, and then let's pick the best one. Okay. All right, so now I do know that from what I understand, the Union did have a larger military base, but I do believe that the Confederacy had a more experienced one. I'm going to go with letter B because I know in the Union they had already built the infrastructure of railroads, and that played a huge part in supplying the soldiers of the Civil War. Number 7, which of the following best explains a key factor in the establishment of Spanish missions in California during the late 18th century? Notice here how this question has moved on to the third topic within Subtest 1, which is all about California history. Read answer options A through D, and then let's find the best one. All right, so I'm going to go with letter A. The Spanish aimed to convert California's indigenous peoples to Catholicism. The mission system is a really important part of doing well on your Subtest 1, so it's a topic that you'll want to pay attention to. Definitely read and reread that section in our study guide. All right, number 8, this is the final question, and so we're giving ourselves a little bit of time. We have 2 minutes to kind of sit, talk, and look at this one. Question 8 reads, which of the following was a primary reason for the large-scale migration of families from the Great Plains to California during the Dust Bowl of the 1930s? This question, and notice how when I'm reading the question, I like to understand which subtopic and which competency that the knowledge or topic comes from within the subtest number 1 content specifications. It kind of helps me categorize the topics in like folders in my own brain. So this is competency 2, which is history, and then this is California history, but it's also the United States history because people, as we can see, moved to California in large numbers. And the question here is, about the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, really what caused that? So if you haven't already, read answer options A through D. I'm going to do the same. Let's talk about it. All right, so letter A, economic hardship and seeking better opportunities. B, government acts. C, discovery of gold in California. And D, California's booming industrial sector. So notice that some of these are not actually incorrect. Like we know that California had a gold rush. However, there is a best answer, and that is from letter A. Now, when completing practice tests from teacherpreps.com, when you click the submit button, you have a clear total score as well as a diagnostic page that helps you understand which questions you know and which questions you are still working with. Now, luckily, we got 8 out of 8, so nice job on that. And if you are about to take the CSET Subtest 1 and you're just thinking, I really wish that there was a place that gave me a study guide, interactive vocabulary, lessons and matching games, as well as tips, tricks, and lessons about how to write your constructed response questions, and full-length practice tests that help you diagnose and understand what you know and what you still need to learn, then click the link in the description below of this video and go ahead and enroll. And I hope you found this video helpful. If so, I would love if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, click the subscribe button. Until next video, thanks for watching.